Okay, so welcome back to Let Me Tell You Something with myself, Jermaine Genus, and Del Boy Derek Chisora. As always, we've got a special guest coming onto the show. Today's no different. He's going to be talking us through his wins, his losses, his lessons, and his legacy. It's Eddie Hearn. How you doing? Thanks for joining us, Eddie.
How did you get on? How did this happen?
You know
what
what?
I mean? Like clean cut, bit of a corporate kind of vibe over here.
I don't know.
Then Derek Chisora. Like what?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to work with him.
He says this every time. You
Nobody wants him.
It's like, yeah.
Every time.
Nobody wants him. So I think, you know what? You come.
Eddie's
to me.
right. I'm still clean, corporate. We're just working back there. We're just working back.
Yeah.
No, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. I know you got a busy day as well. So one of the things I always wanted to kick off with yourself, in particular, when you was coming on, it was like, you're looked upon in the boxing world, not just the boxing world, but in the business world, as somebody that people would aspire to. But there's a journey, isn't there, to get there, essentially. And I've got friends in football, friends who were agents and so on and so forth. And you did your work, didn't you? I've heard a few stories, but back in the day when you were kind of putting in the work, shadowing people to, I suppose, get to where you knew you were going to get to in life at some point. You spent some time at Stella, was it?
Stella Management, yeah. I mean, I think for me, it was like, I never really wanted to work for my dad because it was like an easy thing to do. So, growing up at school, everyone would always say to me, well, you ain't doing no work. You're just going to go and work for your old man anyway. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And like any young kid who plays sport, you'd like to be an athlete, a sportsman. But I want to play decent level at a few sports, but never good enough to go pro. So the next best thing for me was working in sports. And when I left college, I went and worked for about 5 or 6 years for sports agencies representing athletes and travelled on the PGA Tour, the European Tours, representing golfers around the world. And just kind of like, I never really thought that I'd go back into Matchroom, per se, and just start my own thing in sport. And then I met David Manasseh and Jonathan Barnett at Stella. Yeah. We formed a golf management company with them and stayed in with those guys for a good few years. And then eventually kind of hanging around with my dad, and he was like, look, you kind of cut your teeth now. Why don't you come and work with us? You can run this. I was actually I ran the poker department at Matchroom. So we were doing all the major televised poker events around the world. Yeah. Which, when I look back on it, like on the path, it's really good grounding for working in boxing, because boxing's full of scumbags. You should see, right? He's one of them over here. Right? But you should see poker. That is on another level.
Are you serious?
Is it really? I'm doing tournaments, right? You know what I'm like? I want to make it as big as possible. Yeah. So I start off, we've got tournaments, it's 10 grand to enter, right? You got to come with your money, or you got to wire it in before you sit down. Because these people, you never see them again. I'll pay you. What I'll do is I'll go home tonight, send someone round, and they're gone.
Yeah, you're not getting that. You're not getting
So it starts off at 10. I'm like, how do we make this bigger? 50, 100. All of a sudden, I'm doing $1 million buy-in. And like, you're dealing with people, like all of a sudden someone, I wired it this morning. Anyway, the game's starting now, so let me start. No, mate, you're out. You ain't. And that was like actually really good grounding and really good experience for working in boxing, because boxing's the same as poker. There's no barriers to entry. Yeah. To participate or to work in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone can decide to be a promoter or a manager or an advisor. You know what it's like now. Like someone rocks up. I'm so-and-so's new advisor.
Like Freddie Cunningham.
Yeah, good example. Like literally anyone can get in here. But I remember, I think it was around your kind of time, though, when you were fighting Dillian White and stuff like that. Dillian's got a couple of advisors and stuff like that, and I'll get on with them, but they're very And I was in a meeting with Dillian White and these two guys, and my dad comes into the office and he's like, hello, boys, how we doing? What's going on here? I'm like, hey, I was just thinking, Dad's like, leave it. Do you know what I mean? And he goes, who are you lot? So these blokes, right, with Dillian White, he goes, we're Dillian's advisors. And he went, oh, right, yeah. And he went, what's the meeting about? He said, well, I feel that we're a little bit kind of been a bit disrespected, and we're not. It's like, disrespected? What do you do? How do you And it's just like, it's very infuriating, because a lot of the time you're trying to have a sensible business conversation. The numbers are very transparent in boxing.
It is what it is.
But almost like the balance sheet doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
And Del Boy's a great example of that, because he's been overpaid for years. he's always got the max. Del Boy, like money there. And when we stopped working together, I'm like, Del Boy's fucked now. He signs a massive deal with Frank Warren. I'm like, how'd you get that? But that's like, it's true, don't it? In boxing, someone always pops up who's prepared to pay more. You know, and they can be from any kind of background. And now, obviously, with Saudi, you know, so that was a good grounding for me. And to be honest with you, boxing was a massive part of my life from like 8 years old. But I was just a boxing fan. Yeah. You know, I was in training camps, I was watching spars, I was like just around fighters all the time. And I knew every fighter, every opponent's record, but basically every fighter in British boxing. I just used to read and read. But at that time, I was never like, one day I'll be a boxing promoter. It wasn't even a thought of mine, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I mean, you said at the start of this pod, Eddie, like, how do we know each other? And I always like to know how you two know each other. But actually, I found some out about you today as well.
What?
Apparently, you did some work at Stella back in the day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was driving.
He was a driver.
I was a driver for Josh Barnett.
Yeah, well, Joshua Barnett was Jonathan Barnett's son who ran Stella with David Massey. Yeah. And the first time I heard about Derek Chisora was when we were running a tournament called Prize Fighter.
Yeah, I remember it.
And Josh Barnett was pally with you, and they come on to us and they said, is there any way you could get this boxer, our friend, into Prize Fighter? And I was like, we're full up. And I was like, who is it? He went, it's Derek Chisora. He ain't bad. He's from Finchley, blah, blah, blah. You were young then, weren't you?
Yeah, I was very young.
And I think we made you reserve, right?
Made me reserve.
Because we were full. So I said, as a favour, what we'll do is we'll put you in reserve. You still got paid.
Yeah, I got paid $2,000.
Yeah.
Good money. Cash.
At the time, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cash, without selling tickets.
Yeah, that's something.
Now, literally, you wouldn't sign an autograph for $2,000. Do you know what I mean? Things have changed.
Your door, my brother.
Exactly. But that was the first time I heard of Derek. Yeah, when he was sub for Prize Fight. Yeah.
You got kids of your own, haven't you?
Two daughters. Yeah.
Well, you know, have you had any thought as to their journeys? I mean, I've got kids. Derek's got kids.
Yeah,
they're always kind of.
I think that. Maybe it's different having girls than it is to having daughters, and it's not a sexist comment. I think it's just the way that a dad feels about their kids. You know, I think if I had a son, maybe I'd push him a little bit more towards the business. I'm a little bit softer with them, and it's kind of like whatever makes you happy kind of thing. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure in a family business. You know, I think some people always believe that, you know, you've had it on a plate, and you know your dad done really well, and you just walked into Matchroom. But like, if you like to win and you like to achieve something in your own name, it's very difficult because you're always in that shadow. Yeah. So you've actually got to do something quite spectacular to step out of the shadow. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just running a successful company.
Just taking over, yeah.
But to go beyond the levels that you've been at, and that's the same with them as well. Like I just say to them, I just want them to have a passion for something. You know, like too many kids these days, they just kind of maraud through life without actually, you know, when you see a kid that's really into something, could be a sport, could be art, could be drama, it actually doesn't matter.
Anything but the iPad, innit?
Yeah, I know, exactly. And that's a major problem because you look at these, I mean, you know, you sometimes get the phone and have a little check that everything's all right. You know, you go in these group chats and it's like, kids are so mean. I'm like reading it going like, there's people are so mean to each other.
They're so mean to each other.
Unbelievable, especially girls. Like, I'm reading the groups. It's like, oh my God, it's so toxic. Like,
but then that's how they communicate.
Yeah, but why?
But you have to understand, they understand each other that way.
Yeah.
You know, what we think is rude for them, that's nice.
That's normal.
Yeah, because on my daughter's group chat, like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, my best friend is calling me. I have to go back. I have to go answer the phone. You'd be like, but you're on the phone call with your best friend, and it's just madness. But that's how they communicate.
I get the best out of them, like in terms of the energy when they're not on their phone. Like all of a sudden it just changes completely. Yeah. Sometimes my oldest, particularly, she's 15, so that's a bad age like for that kind of thing. Just get in a foul mood. And I know that someone said something online or whatever.
Yeah, it's usually that.
And it's just like, if you put that away and we just get out and let's go for a walk or like whatever, you know.
That's why I started to get my daughter to play football.
Yeah.
Because it's like Saturday mornings, it's the only time not the only time, but the best quality time we spend together. I take her to football, she plays. If she plays bad, then... You know, I give her a talking to, but we have a proper...
Yeah, my youngest plays football. She boxes as well. The eldest is kind of moving a little bit away from sport now, like, you know, 15, 16.
Yeah,
but like, I love it when they're just active. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in sport. Like my entire education, really, like all of my best attributes were built through sport. Yeah. And I was just taught growing up, like my dad was just like, basically, if you don't win, it's a complete fucking waste of time and disaster.
My dad was like that.
So I couldn't give a care. I don't care about, like, and I'd played cricket for Essex and stuff like that. And they come here, how'd you get on today? Oh, I got out for 4. Oh, did you? Fucking useless. Come on, fucking do better next time. That shit. And it's like, it wasn't like, oh, don't worry, son. Oh, you know, you'll get another opportunity tomorrow. And that's like, and the other thing was, winning is everything. everything by any means necessary. And by the way, you don't win unless you work your bollocks off every single day. That's it. And that's very simple. And I think that all my qualities came through playing sport and everything that I learned, you know, and rather, I mean, I know education is important, but I feel very strongly about that for kids, especially in this generation, and particularly boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek will know because he's a product of it, like what boxing did for your life. And, you know, if you hadn't have found boxing...
It saved me.
Exactly. But
no, God honest truth.
No, I know, yeah.
Remember what I said last time? I'm sitting in court, yeah? And the judge goes, Mr. Chisora, you're going to do 2 years today. You're going to go to jail today. Yeah? And my heart dropped. And then Mick, from British Border Control, comes and goes, Judge, if you take this opportunity away from him, you will never get this again. The guy sat there and looked at me and goes, I look in the room, there's people who love you, so I'm going to give you one more chance.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a life changer, like you said.
Life changer, bro.
Can I ask, why don't you two work together at the minute or anymore?
Because Derek's just like basically completely fucking selfish. Don't have an inch of loyalty in him. No, I'm joking. Derek is like, there are a lot of, it's all about bad people. I mean, Derek's not one of them. There are a lot of people who, loyalty is important, but especially in a business like boxing, you really have to look after yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a way to do that still keeping good with people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Instead of like being a bit of a dog and like slippery. And,
I'm not slippery.
If you let me finish. Okay, go on. Right? And Derek is selfish for him, as you should be.
Which is fair, yeah.
But not in a slippery dog way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
like,
like,
I mean, yeah.
And I tell you, someone else is like that. He's like someone like Canelo Alvarez, right? Who we represented for like 8 fights. He basically says like, I need to go wherever the best opportunity is for me. And by the way, Eddie, I love working with you. We get on really well socially. We talk all the time. But if I don't have the deal for him, don't matter how much he likes me.
Yeah.
I'm not the right, you know, if you believe in him. And me and Derek worked for a long time and together. And I think he will always, you know, we always joke about who pays more, me and Frank. And, you know, normally he says it's Frank, but that's if he's with Frank. And then when he's with me, he says it's actually with me. But I'm a slut. But, well, you said it, but, you know, but the reality is what's important is that he will always be able to say, Matchroom are good people.
Yeah.
Eddie, like, be fair, like, he'll tell you the money and you'll get it. You'll get it straight after the fight. There'll be no arguments. There'll be no, you know, you won't be waiting. There won't be any lies. There won't be any of this. Sometimes maybe you can get more money elsewhere. But with those guys, they're solid. Yeah. And that's reputation. Nice. And with Derek, I mean, Derek will, in the early days, Derek was a nightmare. Like, there was my favourite story about Derek was when he boxed Carlos Takam, right? And I get a phone call on fight week, and it was his fight, I didn't want to tell him at the time, was like really important to the pay-per-view because the main event was okay, but like his fight with Takam, we needed it. It was a big, you know. And Tony Bellew phoned me up on the Monday or something, and he's like, I think Del Boy's got a problem with his shoulder or something. And it's hard because like Tony's like one of my best mates, and he's also really close with Del. Yeah. So he's like, and he's loyal as they come. Tony's like, oh yeah. So I thought to myself, like Tony was letting me know to try and kind of do me a favour by letting me know. But Del had told Tony, probably because he knew Tony was going to tell me, right? So
ultimate manipulation.
Yeah, right? So I'm thinking to myself, now, he may have a bad shoulder, but I know what he wants. Yeah. He wants more money, right? So I go to Tony, right, let's fuck Derek off and let's get David Price in, right? And Tony goes, oh, well, I don't know if Derek's out. Like, I said, no. Just fuck him off, Tone. I said, I can't be bothered with him. He's a messer. I know what he wants, more money, blah, blah, blah. I said, so send me David Price's number, right? So he knows, I know, that he's now, Tony, telling him that I'm calling David Price, right? So I did message David Price and just wanted to find out. He weren't available. I thought, shit. Right? And then I spoke to Tony. I went, David Price is in. You know, like, so anyway, then all of a sudden I'm looking at my phone. I go, now I know what's going to happen. Chisora's going to call because it's only like, all of a sudden, Derek Chisora, right? oh, mate, yeah. Oh, my shoulder. Oh, like, I don't think I can fight. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Del, how much you want? Can't remember what it was. 50 grand? I can't remember what it was. He goes, he didn't even go, it ain't about the money. He just goes, I want another 50 grand. And I'm like, I think you might have said 75 or whatever it was. I went, Del, are you joking, mate? I said, like, this never happens. You never renegotiate a purse on fight week. Like, he was a little bit more rogue then, to be fair. And I went to him, Del, because I needed to fight. I thought, do you know what? Let's just nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to give you 50 grand, right? Let's just get on with it. You know, strap your elbow up, take a couple of paracetamols, off we go. And he's like, thank you, see you Saturday. I'm like, But anyway, goes in, career best performance, right, against Carlos Takam. It was unbelievable. I was actually convinced, like, he weren't going to win that fight, especially with his, of course, with his bad shoulder. Right. Anyway, knocks Carlos Takam spark out, right? We get on I jump in the ring. I've never been so pumped. Like, yes, I grabbed hold of him, come down to the apron to do the interview with Sky, and the O2's going mad. And I went, I'm going to say it because he's a warrior and he won't say it. He went into that fight. He shouldn't have even been fighting tonight because of his shoulder injury. He was going to pull out and he just went, no. He grabbed the fight. He goes, I was just saying that to get more money. Live on air. Like, wasn't even like, didn't even tell me backstage. And the whole arena, you can hear the whole arena just laughing, going like, Eddie, you've been completely mugged off here. Do you know what I mean? So that was one of my favourite directions.
I'm conscious of time, Eddie, but obviously I want to get into a little bit of social media stuff as well. But before I do, right, I say this to him all the time, and he kind of fobs it off. Like, he used to be hated.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody tells me. In those stands, you know, I saw a lot of those fights in his early years, and he was the villain in there. He was the one getting booed. Have you seen many transitions like his in terms of being actually not liked by a huge portion of fans to being absolutely loved by the whole of the British
I think the
public?
last fight was a good example.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but Chisora Wilding in Manchester.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Shouldn't really have done that well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done shows with him that bombed completely, done my bollocks. Now all of a sudden he's selling out Manchester Arena out of nowhere. What's going on? You know, like
It's a cowboy hat, wasn't it? It's a cowboy hat.
The bombed at the O2. Do you know what I mean?
The bomb, because it was not like, it was like, the headline was quite shit,
but
basically.
people just you were stuck in a little bit of a rot between a good fighter that just started losing, and then all of a sudden you started losing a load, then you started winning a load, and then obviously like your profile got bigger. I mean, you are everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You go to the opening of an envelope. Like you are literally, and now you're doing your delicious TV. You turn up, you jump in every interview. Do you know what I mean? So, but you've just become a staple diet for British fight fans. And and you know, and by the way, also the main reason they love him is because every fight's a tear up, and you know what you're going to get from Derek Chisora.
No, 100%.
You know, and
You've earned it, mate. Right, the social media stuff, like because you're kind of, you know, you're one of the kings, really, I think, of those short clips and just kind of those punchy, funny things that you do.
Memes.
The memes, mate.
Yeah,
the memes that you just get across. But, you know, there's obviously two sides to social media. When was the point when you realised, actually, you know what, fuck it, I know how to manipulate this and use it to my advantage?
Early on, when I started promoting, I was the only promoter that was using social media, and it was Twitter. I mean, that was the main, you know, tool for us. And I really embraced it, like to the point where when I look back now, sometimes see my old tweets from maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago or 14. It was literally like speaking to the fans every night. Me, not a social media manager. Like, who likes this fight? Oh, what do you think about this fight? And it was like, I was actually looking at it, and it was like, wow, we've finally got a promoter that's actually interacting with us. Because it was me, it was Frank Warren, it was Ricky Hatton, it was Barry McGuigan, Frank Maloney. Yeah. And then like, it was just, no one was doing that. No one even had a smartphone, you know. So and it just blew up for me. And obviously at the same time, I signed all this talent. We had the Audley Harrison experience. I went to Sky. I got rid of all the promoters. I took the contract all for myself, and it flew from there. But social media helped a lot. You know, it's changed a lot. I mean, like, and obviously as your following builds, it becomes a horrible toxic. I mean, Twitter. Is a cesspit. I mean, I actually came off Twitter in the end because I just read it all the time. Yeah. And it's like, I remember I'd done a podcast with Wayne Rooney about 5-6 years ago or more. And I said to him, how'd you deal with like the comments on social media? He's like, what do you think I'll read them? I'm like, and I was like, I'm sitting there going, oh shit. And I said, he goes, you don't read them, do you? I went, only like for about 8 hours a day. You know? And you just start thinking to yourself, why
am I doing that? Yeah.
Are you like, what good can come out of reading that? And it's like, even I'm on Instagram and I use that and it's not too bad. But still, the reality is, if you got a strategy and you got a dream and you've got a vision, why on earth would you someone said the other day, why would you take advice or why would you listen to people that you'd never ask advice from? And that's a true thing. And all of a sudden you're letting some geezer who's never done a day of work in his life tell you that something's shit or you're this or you're that. Of course. And I'm quite a resilient guy, but after a while you can't deny it. Of course it's going to just leak through every now and again. So just adapt it. Listen, when I started on social media with Matchroom, it was just me from my phone. Now we've got 20, 30 people worldwide on our digital team running all our social media. Go
on.
I just want to ask a question. Where'd you get your knowledge from? Because you know boxing more than half of these promoters.
Like a passion since a really early age. So like when my dad started promoting, I was 8 or 9. I would go to the Matchroom gym after school pretty much every day. And I would like follow, there were certain fighters that to me were like my ultimate hero, right? Guys like Jim McDonnell, right? Who fought Azuma Nelson at Royal Albert Hall. Like I was in his training camp. I would go around his house when he was in his training camp, with his wife, Kim. I would eat kiwi fruits with him because that's all he used to eat when he was making weight. And I would just be sitting there like a 9, 10-year-old Francis Ampofo. Right, the flyweight, like probably one of my greatest heroes. Won the British title in Cardiff. I went down with him. I'm in the changing room. He beat Robbie Regan at Cardiff Ice Rink. I'm like 11. I'm carrying his belt out. I'm back. They're all throwing beer. Johnny Nelson went to Germany with him to Stuttgart. He knocked out Marcus Bott in the 12th round. There's a full-blown riot. I'm like 13. Do you know what I mean? So it was like Herbie Hyde fighting Tommy Morrison in Hong Kong. My dad pulled the fight with Bob Arum at the weigh-in because the money hadn't come in from the government. They were threatened to get in. I mean, but I'm like in the pocket for all these years, right? And it's like, again, at the time, it's like, I wasn't looking at my dad going, oh, one day I'm going to be like him. I'm going to be a boxing bro. It was just a world that was so exciting. But every fighter that he had, didn't matter if they were a 6-round fighter or a world champion, I studied their record and the records of every opponent they fought. I knew every fighter. There was BoxRec now. There was no BoxRec back then. There was no internet. So it was like, there's a British boxing yearbook by Barry Hugman, and it had every licensed fighter and their entire record written down. Right? And I would keep that, and I would, every time they fought, I would write in, because obviously you're updating, not BoxRec. I would be writing in the fights they had, the scores, the opponent, and everything. And it was like, it's been a massive part of my life. So, and that's, I think, sometimes the biggest thing that, in fact, Frank Warren said to me, like when we started actually talking and becoming pally, he was like, it actually surprised me how much you know about boxing. It's like, I think people forget that I've been around boxing for nearly 40 years.
Yeah, some people don't know that.
But not just around boxing. I've watched thousands of spars. I've watched thousands of championship matches. I've been in hundreds or thousands of changing rooms. I've been in training camps. Wow. I've been around nutritionists, strength and conditioning coaches, every trainer in the world. Like, you know what I mean? So, but I still sometimes just feel like a little bit of a boy and a fan, because it makes me a little bit giddy. And when one of our fighters wins, like when you beat Takam or Bivol the other week, I just completely lose my shit.
Bivol was amazing.
But I just lose my, like, you know what I'm like. But that's, it's such a passion. Yeah. And when it's a passion, you become so invested in it that it's not like you're learning or it's an education or it's a chore. You just absorb knowledge.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
but that's why when I do a press conference, every promoter has notes.
You don't.
Never had a note in my life. And I will turn up to, like, I'm doing shows in, America, UK, Australia, Mexico. I'll turn up to a press conference in Mexico 20 minutes before the press conference. And literally, I'll go up on the table. There's like 14 fighters up there. And I'm thinking, right, shit. Right, this card, I know, like the main event. And I'll say to Kevin, who's that guy down there? And he's like, oh, he's Alfredo Gonzalez. He's in a 6-rounder against Miguel, someone. And I'm like, fuck, right. And I look up and the guy's going, right, we're going live in 3 on the stream around the world. And I'm like, we are here in Guadalajara. Welcome to an unbelievable show. And I just reel off
comes out
the whole card. All the fight. And he's there. He's coming off a great knockout win 4 weeks ago in Mexico and blah, blah. And I finish, I go, I mean, some are easier than others. Like today's a stroll in the park other than you, Ben. But like, I know all the fighters. I know them inside out. But over there, it's just like, and it's almost like, you know, I don't know whether it's PC to say or not. It's almost like an autistic ability. Well, I don't know.
Just comes out and you're like, where does this come from?
And that's just because
Jermaine has to read his notes before we start.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's a good podcast, because I did a podcast for the BBC for a couple of years. Same thing with that. They'd go, right. And I'd literally turn up and I'd go, right, we're starting in 5 minutes. Who is it today? Yeah. And they go, are you serious? I go, no, it's, I don't know, whoever it might be. Wim Hof. And I'm like, all right. So, we prepared some notes for you. I'm like, fucking hell. Anyway, get him in. Wim, how's it going? Like that. And I'm just...
But you eventually got to do that. And to be fair, if I didn't have some notes, there wouldn't be a podcast. And there'd be no talking. Because you just sit there and say, fuck
I also think that, I also think that preparation is, you know, not it doesn't always... Like, sometimes with a little bit of preparation, you can be even better.
Correct.
But it's just my thing where I refuse to sit there. Because when they go, like, you see Oscar De La Hoya or Frank Warren or whoever it is, and they go, right, on Saturday we got... each fight, you know, it's a 10-round fight, and this is going to be his 8th fight. Like, it's like, no.
Yeah. It's a big weakness in your game.
Yeah, you've got to really know it. You know?
It is indeed.
Sorry, 1 second.
Go on.
So all the fights you watched and promoted, pick me your best 4 or 5.
Oh, I like that one.
So the best 4 fights I've watched live is, I mean, this is a bit hardcore, but Michael Brody against Injin Chi. It's a WBC featherweight world title fight in the GMEX Centre in Manchester. I was about 13. It was unbelievable. They gave Injin Chi the decision, and then when they counted up the scorecards, they actually got it wrong. It was a draw.
Jeez.
Yeah. Fight number 2. I think AJ Klitschko has to be up. I mean, that was just
bad. I remember that day.
Was
I was there.
Yeah,
I was
crazy.
There
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was ringside for that. It was
not
amazing.
just saying it, but I think you and Dillian White won. I mean, 2 was good, but I didn't want to mention it because you got chinned. But one was actually a better fight, I think. Do you know what I mean? With everything that had happened in the build up to that fight. And 4, probably go for Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano, the first one. I mean, it was just absolutely
that was a cracker.
Yeah. I've got to tell one more story about Derek. I know we're going a little bit off topic,
No.
but it's so funny.
I was worried about your time. All day if you want.
I was talking about the Chisora Dillian White fight. So, like, I'll tell a story about number 2 as well after that. Or was number 1? Was number 1 the Rolex as well, or was that number 2?
That was Rolex
number 1. Yeah. So there's 2 stories.
You'll love it.
So the first story is we do the deal. Are you sure that was 1 or 2?
That was 1.
Yeah. Okay. So we do the deal for the fight. They've been chatting non-stop. Like, it's been, and it's a blue build-up, right? It's fucking road, isn't it? Like, you know, it's like these two are like, I'm coming around your house. I've already found out your address. I'm like, oh God, right? So anyway, we make the fight. We agree the deal, right? Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'm happy. So I call the press conference and I'm like, that morning, I'm like, this presser is going to be wild. And also it's going to be pretty dangerous. Because at the time as well, they had money, but they didn't have the money they have now. So they were still a little bit kind of cut between 2 worlds of like, you know, coming into money, but still that same guy, right? So we go up there, I go, Dillian, Derek Chisora said this about you, this. What have you got to say? And he goes, I'm going to fucking smash him everywhere. And this is personal. And after the fight, it ain't over. I'm coming, blah, 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 blah. I'm going, well, yeah. I said, Derek, there he is. Now's your chance. What you got to say? He went, I ain't saying nothing. And I went, well, obviously, what are you trying to keep it contained there? You're worried it might spill over a little bit. He went, nah. He went, you haven't put me on a pay-per-view bonus. Right? This is in the presser, right? I got all the media there. I go, well, actually, because this is true story. I went, I asked you if you wanted a pay-per-view bonus, and you said, no, I just want the money. Okay. So that, you know, the deal's, the deal's done, Derek. So tell me what. He goes, nah, if you want me to sell this fight, you got to pay me. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, now I'm trying to style it out. And I'm like, Anyway, back to you, Dillian, blah, blah, blah. Presser finishes. I go up to him. I said, are you taking the piss, mate? I said, I've given you all this money for the build-up. Like what? And well, you can't say things like that live. He was like, well, no, you're not giving me any pay-per-view money. I went, mate, you said I tried to cut you in, lower your guarantee, give you more bonus on the upside. You went, I don't want any upside, just give me more money. Yeah, well, you know, that was then, and like, you know, he went, what watch is that? Right? So I was like, I don't even wear a watch anymore because I've given most of them to him. Right? I said to him, I had a Sky Dweller, right? Rolex. I went, it's a Sky Dweller. He went, give me that watch and I'll sell the fight for you. Right? And I'm like, are you taking the piss, mate? Like, right, anyone else, I would have told him to. But he's like, so I was like, I'll tell you what I'll do. If this fight does 300,000 pay-per-view buys, I'll buy you a Sky Dweller.
It was 400.
400. Yeah. And he goes, all right then. All right. They drove straight down to Sky Studios, right, to do the face-to-face.
I remember, yeah.
We sat down and he's like talking away, like blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And when the thing is with Derek, when the legs start going, yeah, you need to clear the room, right? So when he starts going like this, it ain't a good sign, right? And that's like with a lot of fighters. So I'm watching him. I'm in the green room of Sky Sports, right? And it's just Derek, Johnny Nelson,
Johnny Nelson,
and Dillian. And I'm watching the screen, and Derek goes, saying like, yeah, I don't know, like you better watch what you're saying like this. And I look down, and he's like, the legs going. I'm like, oh. And then he's like, do you think, I'm a donkey, like this, and starts banging the table. Picks up his glass, throws the water over Dillian. Dillian picks up the glass, slings the glass at Derek, and all of a sudden, it's like the lights are going out, and all you can hear is, get up, and like, boom, 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 right? They're on the floor. There's security in there trying to get them off. So I'm like, just come out the green room. I'm running to the studio. But as I'm running to the studio, I'm also thinking to myself, what are you going to do? Yeah. I'm like, don't worry, I'm coming. And then I'm like, and then luckily I open the door and it's like a war site. I mean, like it's unbelievable. So they're all being dragged apart, right? I'm sitting there, and he's like, well, yeah, you told me to sell the farm. How am I getting blamed for this, right? So anyway, they split up, and it was like the board come on and said like, right, no more, keep them apart, and we actually kept that. I think Sky kept a lot of the footage out, and it was like just the main incident. Yeah.
Is it?
I think
if he comes out, I would
he was biting you. I don't know, whatever someone was doing. I mean, like,
it's a street fight. Yeah. So
it's going on in a studio, in the Sky Studios. Right?
Fucking out. Because he's biting me. I'm like, eat that, mate. It was a man.
So, right, that's the end of that. And I go, right, nice, Del. Like, let's, we'll keep it calm now. Anyway, it carries on. Like, he's saying this in interviews. He's tweeting this. Then we get to fight week, right? So they're down the table, and this is the infamous press conference.
He set me up.
How did I set you up?
He set me up that day.
Why?
Because he said, press conference in Manchester today. You don't need security.
Oh,
that's what.
What? And Dillian turned up with a bag of security
with his guns.
Anyway, so he's sitting on one end, Dillian's on the other end, right? So I say to my security, listen to me, right? I want you to stand behind Chisora, right? Just watch his leg. Once his leg starts twitching, just get ready. Right, so he's like, anyway, start off, I go, Dale, what are you? He's going, yeah, you know something about you, Dillian White, yeah? I know where you live, and if you think, and Dillian was like, I know, I'm coming to your house on Monday after the fight, and he's going, you coming to my house like this? And I look down, I think, oh my God, and I look over and I can see his leg, right? So I go to security, like, fucking leg, right? And all of a sudden, he's gone like this, and I thought, he's going to flip the table. I thought, that's
usual,
all right.
Yeah.
And he's picked I can't tell you how heavy this thing was. And I'm just watching like this, and he's picked it up, this big oak table, and he's just gone and slung it like at my head and Dillian White, right? So I'm like, anyway, that's actually, people always say to me, like, has there ever been a moment where you kind of not feared for your life, but you thought,
oh dear.
And that was after that, like, it's all going off. He's thrown the table, Dillian's got up, Mark Tibbs has slung him on, right? And he's going, ah. So I'm like, right, stop it. Right. So I go down, I went, Derek, calm down, and he comes up to me, he goes, do you want me to end this all now? And he was about there, right? I had two security. I just went, no, Derek. I just thought to myself, oh my God. I looked him in the eyes, I thought, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me because you will knock me spark out, right? And then he's having a go at me, you. And then Adam Smith come over and said the same thing, right? And he's like, sorry, Adam. I'm like, what? What's going on here? Anyway, after that, then all of a sudden the board come on, the British Boxing Board of Control, and they go,
my goodness.
Fights off. Right?
Wow.
Fights off. I'm like, whoa. What do you mean fights off? Right? Because we had AJ fighting Molina, which was still AJ, but this was like a co-main event. It was really important to show. Fights off. I'm not having that. Blah, blah. I said, you can't call the fight off. I said, you've not even had a hearing. I said, it's ridiculous. Right? Well, all right, emergency hearing tomorrow in Manchester. Right? I'm like, fuck. I said, Robert, come on. Like, it's just, no, I'm telling you now, this fight ain't happening. But if you want to go before the stewards to get their opinion, blah, 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 then we'll do it, right? So I'm like, fuck. I said, it's the only chance we got. So this is like 10 o'clock in the morning before the weigh-in. So we turn up, and it's like, when I say old guard, right, like the worst crowd for Derek, right? Gotcha. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and he's like, at the start, I said, Derek, you've got to come to his hearing. I ain't coming to no hearing. I said, no, mate. I said, you've got to come to the hearing. Otherwise, we can't, like, oh. So I said, just do me a favour. Just sit in there and say, it's boxing, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like, you just lost your lid and it's an emotional game and you won't do it again. Okay. Go in there, sit down. I'm here, Derek's here, right? It's like being in court. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, there was like 4 guys over there, all like white, 80 years old, 70 years old. Right? So
old school English.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Sits there, he's sitting there, he goes, Mr. Chisora. I thought, oh, fucking hell, don't. He goes, let's look at your offences since you've been a licence holder with the British Boxing Board of Control. And I'm like,
oh dear.
how long have we got?
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, in 1999, you slapped Vladimir Klitschko around the face, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know, in 2000 and I don't know, you bit the ear of an opponent. You know, in 2016, you had a fight with David Hay in a press conference. Then you spat in the face of Vladimir Klitschko. I'm like, oh my God. Right? And he's getting more and more wound up, right? And I'm thinking, just stop. So he's like, so Mr. Chisora, do you think that we should let you fight on Saturday, bearing in mind what you have done? I'm just sitting there thinking, please, Del, please. And I look down and he's going,
no way, not the legs again.
Right? I'm going, I went, whoa. I went, stop this. And he's like, what? I want to hear from Mr. Chisora. I went, listen. This is not fair. I said, he's fighting tomorrow. I said, can I just have a word with him outside? I just need, you know, he just needs to calm down here. This is very emotional, like that. And he's like, I'm thinking, he's just going to just like basically knock out all these 70-year-olds.
Yeah, that's it.
So I've taken him outside. I've gone, Del, please, mate, fucking, do you hear them, what they said about, oh, this is a stitch up? I said, mate, please, just go in there and say, right, this is my livelihood. I need this fight for my kids, my family. But so he comes in. I went,
kid that
So I went in there. I went, Derek's very emotional. I said, he's got a big fight. I said, he's just going to say a few words and then let's deal with it, us. So Derek goes in. He's actually brilliant. He goes, boxing saved my life, you know, this and that. And I'm sorry. I'm angry. You know, I was an angry guy, blah, blah, blah. But I need this opportunity. Please don't take it away from me. It's my livelihood. I'm sitting there going, go on, Del. Like that. Anyway, he finishes. I go, I think he needs to leave. I think that's more than enough. Derek, thank you so much. Anyway, goes outside. And he's gone. I'm like, guys, I'm not being funny, yeah? Come on. And they're like, oh, I don't know. You know, and they're all like, oh. Anyway, Derek goes outside. I go outside. Both go outside. Right, listening through the door, like Rich door, and I can hear him. Oh, I don't think this should be allowed. You know, he's not an. Well, you know, he spoke well and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh. They open the door. They go, we'll let the fight go on. I went. Oh. They went, but there's going to be a substantial fine. I went, no problem. 25? 25. Right. It goes 25 grand, which actually. Eubank just got fined 100, but it was a lot of money at the time, 25 grand, wasn't it? And I was like,
criminal to 100 at that time.
I was like, wow, that's brutal. I said, but Del's getting paid well, so it's not a problem. So I went outside. I went, Del, the result of all results, mate. He's like, what? I said, they're going to let you fight. Oh, sweet. Didn't even say thank you. He was like, oh, thanks. Oh, sweet, or whatever. I was like, yeah. I said, just 25 grand fine. I said, you know, from your purse. I said, that's not the way. He went, are they having a fucking laugh? I went, no, I said, I think that's fair, mate. I said, like, honestly, the fight was off. He went, I ain't paying 25 grand. I went, what? He went, well, you can pay it. And I'm like, me? I went, how's me? Anyway, back in the day, and he won't mind me saying this either, Anthony Joshua was owning the show, right?
Yeah.
So this is how, so he would get all the money.
Yeah.
But we'd agree all the costs as well. And at the end, the pot was AJ's.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, well, you ain't paying it, so I'm paying it. But basically, the show's paying it, which
AJ's
is
paying
AJ.
it.
So I'm going to have to speak to AJ. And he's like, speak to whoever you want. I don't care. Right. Anyway, go to AJ. I go, because he was worrying as well. And we were all worrying about the pay-per-view. I said, AJ, great news. Chisora White's on. Oh, right. I said, it's 25 grand fine. I said, Dell won't play it. So, like, what we'll do is we'll just put it into the show. He went, fuck off. I'm not paying for that. So I just got stung with the fine.
You got stung twice.
Stung. Suck it.
For the watch.
The watch,
the fine,
the fake shoulder. As well, you've had well over 100 grand of bonuses.
You owe him big time.
That's brilliant. I know we're diverting here, but
no, that's brilliant.
That's good, man.
I love that.
That's good.
So should we get into the wins, the losses,
Yeah,
the lessons?
There was a few of them in there.
There was
really.
a lot in there. There was, and but let's just start with the wins.
Yeah, the wins. I think that you kind of, as you get a little bit older. I mean, we went on a bit of a bad run. We had that 5v5, the Conor Ben stuff. You lose a few big fights that could go your way, and then all of a sudden, bang! You rack up 2 or 3 big wins. So I think the lessons, like when I was first, boxing is honestly the worst business in the world. The worst business. I was talking to my dad about this today. He said, sometimes I look at you and I remember the nights, the sleepless nights, the fights falling through, people shafting you left, right and centre. He goes, I'm so happy I'm not in that game anymore. I'm so much happier, But I think that over time, you just the more you put yourself in tough positions, the easier they are to deal with, or the more you recognise how to deal with them, and teaches you different stuff. So I think as long as you can take something from it, from a defeat, I know it's a little bit of a cliche, but that's really the reality. It's not a loss, it's a lesson. And, but the wins, but also understand that I'm a little bit of a pessimist, actually, secretly, because I like to downplay stuff so that I'm nicely surprised. Whereas my old man's completely the other way. Like my mum is a terrible pessimist, but my dad is the biggest optimist you'll ever meet. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? No, I like to be a little bit pessimistic, so I'm nicely surprised.
Yeah.
And that means that when I have a good day or a win, I also know, don't worry, it'll come back around to kick you in the nuts, which is a bit of a negative view for me. But whereas the other people, when you have a bad day, will go, don't worry, the good days are coming. And by the way, they both apply.
They do,
because that's just life. That's just life. It goes in roundabouts and it goes up and down. You have a good spell, you have a bad spell.
I feel like you've answered 3 out of the 4 there already. So no, thanks for that. But the legacy, I think, is the big one. I mean, your dad, Barry, obviously, he took Matchroom and, did what he did with it, and it had its own legacy. And I think it's fair to say, and I think he would probably agree, that you've took it to another level. I suppose, is that how you want to kind of, when you're looking back over your life with the kids and so on and so forth, that, is Matchroom what you'd like to class as your legacy?
Actually, you know what? Sorry. I believe that, for what you did, what your dad gave you, you did unbelievable great. Nobody's ever given you props for that, but I have to say this, your dad gave you a silver spoon, you converted that into a platinum spoon.
I used to say gold, but I think platinum.
Platinum is better than gold. I mean, because I remember when you started with Prize Fighter, I was like, okay, and then when I jump on it, and then suddenly from then you announced AJ, and then you just went bigger and bigger and bigger, and then suddenly the Saudi deal came in, and we did the Saudi, and then you lost the Saudi deal again, and now you're back on it again. And you went to Mexico, Australia, you're everywhere now, Metro. So I'm just gonna say, on our viewers, basically, well done, my brother.
Thank you.
Well done, bro. Well done.
There's your legacy right there. There's your legacy.
Well done, bro.
I'm thinking, I don't know how much this is going to cost me. But, I just think that, on that sort, I never really, Matchroom is such a, I think as a parent, you really follow in the footsteps of your parents. Sorry, as a child, you follow in the footsteps of your parents. So the habits that they do. So I grew up really understanding that to my dad, the company and Matchroom was everything. My dad's a little bit different to me. My dad is completely and utterly obsessed with making money. Like, I'm talking about obsessed. Yeah. Like, he's obsessed with money as well. Like, he came from nothing in Dagenham and he just wanted to be rich. Yeah. Right? He was like, I look at these other houses, you know, used to go around and clean the cars as a kid and go, oh, I just want that. And like, he's obsessed with the business, obsessed. Like, and I am as well, but he's probably, I don't know, like, he doesn't really have a lot in his life outside of the business. He don't care because he loves the business.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
He updates every dart score that comes in, every snooker score that comes in. He's like upset. He goes, did you watch the Players' Championship from Bristol on last night? It's on a Sunday. I'm like, no. He's like, so-and-so won 4-3. Oh, it was unbelievable. In the court, I'm like, and obviously Leighton Orient and like the passion that he puts into stuff is incredible. So that's rubbed off on me. And I've always understood the importance of the business to our family and to him. And your dad's your hero, isn't he, really, ultimately? So, like, I look at it and I just see it as an obligation to, you know, and I think when you talk about legacy, not, you know, it's important to me how Matchroom is perceived and represented in the future. But I think it's more like for people to say, you know, God, he worked hard, that geezer, didn't he? He put the hours in, you know, because I think being good at something's great. And I like that. But I think for someone from my background, for people to say he was a grafter, because I never got the chance to make it from nothing, really. It's not my fault, but you play the hand you dealt. But what a feeling. Like, I often think, you know, sometimes I go for a walk with my dad in his house and he loves buying land, right? So he's like,
it's buying, a nice hobby, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's like buying random farms in like Peterborough, like 400 acres. He's smart as well. You know, there's a method behind it. But where he lives now, he's just been like going to the farmers going, all right, he just knocks on their house. He goes, see those fields over there? Do you want to sell them? And they're like, yeah, go on then. And he's bought like, I don't know, he's got like 200 acres, right, at his house. And he'll go for a walk with me sometimes. And he's just like, he's looking around. He goes to me, see that field down there? I go, yeah. He goes, I bought that last Thursday. He went, that's my field. He goes, see how far you can see? He went, that's all mine.
That's amazing.
Like, but I'm like, he's got a lot of money, right? And he's been around a long time. But he also remembers sharing a room with his sister in Dagenham, and I'm a little bit jealous of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never got the chance to do it from nothing. It's like, fine. Listen, well, I've done well, but I often think, like, when I walk around those fields, I didn't come from a house as big as that. I still come from a nice house, so I don't look around those fields going, I look at it and go, it's beautiful, but I don't go, I can't believe this is mine. Yeah. Whereas he does, and that's an unbelievable feeling to have.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Do you know what I mean? So me, he's provided me with a great opportunity, a great life, and it's just my job, my role in life, to carry on what he was passionate about, which is Matchroom. That makes you really dangerous if you're that passionate about business. Do you know what I mean? Because like when I talk about work ethic, that's why my work ethic is so mad, because it means so much to us. It's personal. Yeah. It's not like we didn't just take a job as a CEO. And it's like, it's a really personal thing to us. So
it's difficult to match as well from anybody else who's coming to compete. Right, we have some quick fire questions we'd like to throw at you, Eddie. I think your mate over there has answered a couple of these before, but who is your GOAT British boxer?
I will give one, but I will just say, like, ability-wise, pure ability and legacy and record, Joe Calzaghe.
Oh yeah,
right? Never lost. From a natural skill and entertainment perspective, Prince Naseem Hamed. Yeah. But I mean, and in terms of what they did for the sport, AJ. But I probably, because of the experience over him and because of how tough he was, I have to give it to Carl Froch. Like, and I know there was better fighters but for me, Carl was like this, like
the Cobra.
He was like, I don't say disrespectfully, he wasn't that good. Like, he did nothing that was sensational. Like,
but he will find the power somehow.
But this guy would scrap. Yeah. If there was a 5p piece down there, he would have it with you for the 5p. Yeah. Like, he was, tight. Yeah. I said to him, when he boxed Lucien Butte, he lost against Andre Ward in the Super 6 final. And then I said to him, look, you can have a comeback fight in Nottingham, because he hasn't boxed in Nottingham for so long, for 200 grand. Or you can fight Lucien Butte for the world title, who was undefeated at the time, was the best fighter in the division with Andre Ward. But the money's also 200 grand because I've got to bring him over. Yeah. And he went, fuck it, let's fight Lucien Butte. And I'm like, anyway, come over and like, he was walking out to the ring walk, and I went to him. Sometimes you got to pick your times to say something to a fighter. Like some fighters, like AJ, he don't really want to talk to you in the dressing room, does he? You might go to him and go, "You good? Yeah. Come on, switch on." You know, but that's about it. Carl needed constant reassurance.
Really?
That he was petrified, which you wouldn't think it of someone who, like. So we walk into the ring that night against Lucien Butte, and I'm like, and he's like. And I'm like, fuck, what should I say? And I was like green then as well. I didn't really like, and I went to him, Carl. He went, yeah. I went, if you lose this fight, you'll never make a fucking another penny in the sport. Do you understand me? And he looked at me and he went, and his nostrils like out. And I was like, oh. Anyway, done the ring walk. When I say he battered Lucien Butte, right, he tore him a new arsehole, didn't he? He did. He was a man possessed.
Wow.
And for that reason,
I love that. Underrated boxer.
Underrated boxer.
Dilemma.
I would say underrated boxer. I still feel like some of the true greats don't really get their props because of the way that they fought. Like a guy like Pernell Whitaker, others you might not know, like Meldrick Taylor and people like that, like great fighters, but never really got the opportunity. You know, I think that because of the way he finished his career a little bit flat, like I think Gennady Golovkin was also unbelievable.
He was amazing.
Like an absolute beast. And because he was from Kazakhstan, I think probably got all of the credit that he should have done.
Yeah. I always find this one a difficult one, but an overrated boxer, the most overrated boxer.
Derek Chisora?
That's an easy. You know what? When I first did it with him, he said Tony Bellew as well. I think it's like a friend thing, isn't it? If someone's your friend, it's easy to get away with it.
Overrated. I was actually thinking of someone when you was talking earlier.
Amir Khan was.
Really? I don't know. Yeah,
because Amir Khan, his first 10, 15 fights, he was giving nobodies and he was spucking them out. And people were like on Sky, oh my goodness, great. And then sadly, when he fought a real fighter, he found it very difficult.
Okay.
But his overrate was gone.
Yeah.
But also, sometimes like you can actually break down a record of a fighter and say, who did they actually beat?
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I will say, listen, I do rate Tyson Fury. You know, I know you fought him and you rate him as well. But sometimes when you look at the resume and say, who were the great wins? I mean, he did beat, obviously, Wilder. But then you start looking at Wilder and it's like, I know he was better than he is now. But like, was he ever
Was he getting
good?
to the end?
I mean, the Klitschko win in Germany from Fury was unbelievable.
No, that was
But he beat Dillian. Dillian was at the end of the road. He beat you, like, about 17 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck off.
But you know, like, but you were up there as one of his best wins. Probably the most overrated fighter of all time, Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. You reckon?
Who did he beat? Luis Ortiz.
Nobody.
About 40 years old.
Nobody.
That's it.
Nobody.
Like, that's the best win of his career.
Yeah. Deontay Wilder.
Will Jake Paul ever win a belt?
No. Not. I mean, well, he might win one from TK Maxx or something like that, wherever he goes down. But no. Like, in absolute. But by the way, like, there are worse professional fighters.
No,
than Jake
but
Paul.
let's be honest. Why not?
Because he's. I mean, unless a governing body, right, goes, oh, there's a vacant belt, we'll sanction Jake Paul against some random geezer in the top 100. Who's he beating?
Yeah,
Derek,
right.
stop it.
There you go. There's your answer.
He's trying to sell it up.
He is, yeah.
You'll probably find out Chisora's done a deal to fight Jake Paul.
Best ring walk of all time.
I mean, Eubanks was unbelievable, simply the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But Naz, you know, there was a time with Naz when we promoted him, and there was one where we got, well, my dad got. I mean, one he come in on a flying carpet.
Yeah, I remember
like
that one.
was
Yeah.
unbelievable. But another one that my dad done, which was amazing, he got like a dozen Naz lookalikes, right?
Wow.
And the music started, and there was all this smoke coming out, and this guy come out in like the leopard print shorts, and he's like, and the crowd goes mad, and then all of a sudden, like the spotlight goes like up into the tiers, and another geezer comes out, and everyone's going, "What's going on here?" And there was like 12 of them all around, and then all of a sudden he just comes out, and it was like he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's good at that.
I struggled to find that many of you, wouldn't we, on phone? What boxing rule would you change if you could? The one rule that you think I've had enough of this.
Sometimes, I mean, a lot of commissions have it as a standard rule, but it's a 10-point must system. So some commissions will allow you to have a round 10-10, a draw.
Yeah.
And I just think,
What's the point?
Someone's won the
won.
round.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, I don't know who won that round. It was close, so I'll give it a draw. It's like, no, choose one. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
So that's one of them. I quite like open scoring. I mean, it's a bit complex, but like WBC have this thing where after 4 rounds and 8 rounds, they give the scores to the corner and to the TV.
Oh, wow.
So you know the scores. And they allow it in Mexico. They allow it in British Boxing Board of Control don't allow it, nor do America. But some international commissions allow it. So
Change the narrative.
yeah, but also like sometimes you might think you're winning a fight and they come around after the 8th round and they go, just let you know you're 4 rounds down. It's like, what? And then you have to go out. You have to knock the guy out to win.
Yeah, for me, Manchester, I was losing the fight on the 12th round.
You said this to me.
Yeah, I was
don't see
losing.
it. I don't see
no,
how.
you don't understand. I was losing.
Which fight?
The last fight.
The bowling fight.
Yeah, I was losing. Because if I didn't give him a knockdown, then I would have lost the fight.
I mean, I didn't see but boxing's crazy like that. I didn't
But
see
also,
it
like the Joe Joyce fight, for example, was a close fight. But when you dropped him, all of a sudden that put you in a great position. Do you know what I mean? So,
Trust me, man. I can't. When it gets to those later rounds.
but you know when you lost to Dillian White in the second fight, you were ahead.
I was ahead.
Yeah, but if you knew you were ahead,
But But the problem is with that Dylan White fight, he was being promoted by Eddie.
there we go.
Yeah. So I was like, I could not let this go to the round to the judges because they're gonna give it to him.
Well, because of Eddie.
Yeah.
This is the mad.
You got influence, Eddie.
Apparently, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't win.
And then my
do you know what I
corner
mean?
is like, listen, you're winning, take it easy. I'm like, no, I have to go for it. And then when I went for it, I go, cool, and I don't mind.
And then all of a sudden, it's my fault.
When we asked Derek what rule he changed, he said take the ref out.
Yeah.
That was a good
Sounds
one.
about right. Yeah. That probably sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Is liking a woman's thirst trap photos online and commenting on them considered cheating if you've got a partner?
Yes.
Straight in. You two? What do you think?
What's that?
If you like a girl's photos, is that cheating?
Oh, you talking about for the man or for the woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know,
Nice.
there's an intention.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's not.
Oh my God.
I know.
I swear, if you've heard some of his responses on these
But really, you're saying that it's fine for you to do it.
yeah, that's
But
a
if
fair
she
point.
did it,
Yeah.
How would you feel if
Emily
she
did it, yeah.
started? You went on some like guy's page and you just like come out of the pool with a pair of
Yeah.
shorts on. It's like liked by I don't know,
Yeah,
like a
liked.
flame or something.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let me be
If he
honest.
doesn't look like
it
you as
is
well.
coaching because you know what? As men, we cheat every day, every minute, and every hour. We cheat. On our
That's
wife.
a mad statement. Where you
move
going
on.
with this?
Let's move on.
And I tell you what. And I tell you what.
What's the next dilemma?
If you see a beautiful girl, don't you look and say, "Oh, she's beautiful"?
That's not cheating, though.
That is coaching.
That's so different.
Hold
that's
on, you
not.
just said it wasn't cheating, liking someone's stuff and sending
Yeah,
them.
but
like
I was just messing around. But it's coaching anyway.
I think the answer is yes.
yes.
It is considered
Yes.
okay. Shall I do the...
Yes, go again.
Right,
Go
there's
on.
one more. There's a big craze going around for cosmetic procedures for
Right.
men at the moment.
Yeah.
And men are getting Botox and filler in their penis.
Right.
Eddie does that.
And it's
That's
called... and it's called
Eddie
Balltox.
does that.
Yeah, I have to say, I'll be honest with you, it didn't even hurt. But let me tell you how I feel about this. Anything
tell us, please.
It's a little bit of a rant, right?
Come on.
Let's go.
Sorry, yeah. I've never had Botox, right? You probably look at that going, liar, like he's up you. But honestly, on my kid's life, I've never had Botox. I would never have Botox. I think it is the most cringe thing. Like Frank Smith, he had Botox.
Did he?
Right? Yeah. Because what happened was, his girlfriend was like, I think she's having, or whatever.
he look terrible?
She'd have some. And he's like, oh, should I? And next thing, he's like, he come around for about 3 months. He's like this. And I'd like say something to him. I'd go, Frank, how good's that? And he'd go, oh, that is absolutely hilarious. Wait, what's that with you? Yeah, right. And I just thought,
Do you hate it in women? Do you think women should say natural?
I think not. I prefer not. But like, I get it. Like, as you get a little bit older, like, you know.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the one thing that I cannot stand.
Come on.
Cannot stand.
Drop it. Say how it is.
Got this. Come on.
What's it called? Can't even remember. Mount Jaro. What's the other thing?
Oh, Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, mate.
I know.
This is
Hot topic
like
right
I
now.
have spent 30 years of my life trying to stay fat. Right, just fat, like borderline fat. Right, I've been grafting. I've trained 3 or 4 times a week
Yeah.
for 30 years.
Just
Right,
say that.
with really very little improvement. Right, these fuckers are coming in here and going,
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I've lost 3 stone. It's unbelievable. But it is the biggest cheat. I can't,
Yeah.
you know, and then I'm getting to the point now, not just overweight people do it, because I get if you're considerably overweight, you've
give it a
tried
go.
this, your blood pressure's high, your cholesterol.
Yeah.
I get it, like
Yeah.
you need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Now, you got people that aren't even overweight,
Yeah.
they just want to get shredded up. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'm a little bit chubby at the moment. I'm like, what? And they're like, bang. Next time you see them, they're like,
Yeah.
like
I think you
ripped
can
to
see
shreds.
it.
I'm like,
I think it's
I think you
Ozempic
can see
face.
it.
They
and,
call
you
it
can,
face.
and I think it like
Yeah.
drops your.
Yeah.
What is going on with this world?
Can't-
Like,
can't-
do you realise
This
how
is it.
bad
I
that
know,
shit
it is.
Like,
I know.
This is why.
unbelievable.
This is why I think men getting Botox in their ball. We've gone
is
too
that?
far. It's
What
mad.
is that for?
It's called Balltox.
Yeah, but
Take
is it in the
wrinkles out.
balls? What?
The
Take the
wrinkles out of your
out.
balls.
What?
Aren't balls supposed to be wrinkled?
They should be
no.
real.
I mean,
yeah.
you know.
Who
That's the
wants
whole point.
They were never meant to be attractive. That's for sure.
They're functional.
Function. Thank
Yeah.
you.
They just hang there for a
Yeah.
reason, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no to Botox, no to Balltox,
Yeah.
definitely no to Balltox.
That's
what
a-
load,
that's a mad
What I was gonna say,
diet.
what a load
Just
of
the
bollocks
name
that
is
is, yeah.
fucking stupid.
But no to Ozempic, no to Mount Joe.
All
I
my
mean, I-
friends are on Ozempic. You know?
Everyone is. And people are on it. They're not even telling you they're on it.
Yeah,
you know when
yeah.
you see someone and you go, you've
My-
lost weight.
My best friend
Like,
goes
you know
to
what I mean? Like, you know, all of a sudden,
it's
out
quick
of
though.
nowhere,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
they're like,
It's
they
quick.
look completely
Yeah.
different. And it's
My
like,
best friend goes to me. I'm doing swimming lessons. I swim every day in the morning, so that's why I'm losing weight. I'm like, mate,
Bullshit.
you start losing weight since Botox when Ozempic was discovered.
Oh, okay,
mate.
yeah.
Because
Everyone's
it's bad.
Cheat code.
everyone's on the
It used to be
slide.
gastric band, didn't it? Everyone used to get them.
Yeah, but
them
that's
gastric,
I mean,
and now
that's
it's
like,
Ozempic.
surgery
yeah,
then,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit different,
I mean,
innit?
gastric band's like.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But what do you? That's the most awkward thing when you do bump into someone you haven't seen them for a few years, and all of a sudden they're half the size.
You're like,
And I
oh,
go,
yeah.
"Well, you done well, mate." And they went, "Yeah, gastric band." I'm like, "Well, not really done well then." I mean, basically cheated. Isn't
It is
I mean,
cheating,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's like the reality.
So you're
is,
just upset because
I'm fuming.
You
I'm
fume.
not upset. I'm fuming.
Why can't you just do it?
Because I'm not doing it. It's a. If
a
you know a
principle.
geezer who's got some, I'll give it a little go. But there was one night where I was like training really hard, and I love food. Right? I can't stop. And Frank's even worse, isn't he? Smith, like he don't stop eating, right? And I'm like, and I think I was one night where I was just like, went back to bed. I'm like, I had like the truffle fries, macaroni,
yeah.
cheese,
Beautiful.
steaks, everything. I'm laying in bed. I'm like, you are actually a waste
pig,
of time.
yeah.
You're
Waste
you're
of time.
useless. And I
I've
just
been
thought to myself, I mean, you could just have one of those little jabs, couldn't you? And then I woke up the next morning. I thought, no.
Yeah, good for you.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
You're
But
making
how'd
the
you
right
come off
decision.
it? Like,
Yeah,
whatever,
you're
like,
making
you
the
know.
right decision.
Anyway,
Thank
Thank you
so
very
cheers,
much.
guys. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, man.
Thanks a lot,
Been
man.
amazing.
Thank
Top
you.
man. Thank
you know,
you
I
very
did.
much.
I did go easy on you today.
Good.